today's video is gonna be a story time. I'm out here out in the park. It's a little dark in here because it's cloudy outside, so I hope y'all can see me because it's quite dark. There's no sun out, and it says it's gonna rain today, so yeah. So I'm doing a mukbang story time. So I bought some sushi from Kroger, so it's like a store sushi, but yeah. And I've got some bark thins from Kroger too. It's a dark chocolate, almond and sea salt, so I had that for dessert. So and yeah, I also have a lemonade. Not healthy, yes, not healthy, but it's what I want right now. So we're gonna get started with the video. So I also, oh yeah, sorry, I also got chopsticks. It's free, so I love eating with chopsticks instead of a fork or whatever. So today it's gonna be a story time. It's about me moving to Pennsylvania with my 4-year-old. So yes, it's been a journey for me and Olivia and my child. So as is a surprise story time I want to talk about since I'm moving to Texas. So it's gonna be like my second move. So it was back in 2018 where I was working at Amazon at the time, and I was working at Amazon at the time, and I just had that urge to move, to go somewhere else. And at the time I still had my CNA license, so I hit up Indeed, of course, and see if they have any travel agencies and all of that. And I applied to this ad on Indeed that say, hey, come travel in Pennsylvania. We have, we're hiring. Is a facility in Pennsylvania that needed help. So by the way, I have the Crunch California roll sushi. It's pretty good. I didn't know grocery stores really have sushi, but they do. But anyway, back to the story. So I replied to the ad, and a few days later I got an email about the position and traveling and all of that stuff. They reimburse you for gas and they provide you with housing, or you could look for your own housing. So what I did, I looked for my own apartment and everything. So I like, yeah, I want to work for y'all. So they called and we chat on the phone and everything, trying to get stuff ordered, arrangements set up. So I had to get my CNA license transferred to Pennsylvania, and it was really easy. All I had to do was go to the nurse registry and get a transfer on there and fill a application out. I get my license transfer over there. So it took like 2 weeks or so to get it transferred. And I got an email from the Pennsylvania Nurse Registry and say, yeah, okay, you are registered now in our database and everything. And I got my certification. Sorry, there's squirrels back here. So I'm with the squirrels right now. So I like, yes, okay. So after that, I made arrangements and I told my leasing company that I'm going to be moving, so I had to break my lease. It wasn't smart as I did, but break my lease, and so it wasn't. So I just get up and move. I packed up and moved. Like, I packed my whole car up and moved. So I didn't use a U-Haul or nothing like that. I just packed up and moved. And it was like, really, I was scared. I was nervous. I'm like, I never moved in another state before, especially driving there. I had to use my car and drive there, so I was afraid, and I was like, oh my gosh. And at the time, my daughter was like 4, I think she was 3 or 4 years old at the time. So imagine traveling with your child and everything. So long story short, I packed everything up. Any furniture I had, I sold it or got rid of it and everything. Anything, I just took anything that just fit in my car. So the day that we had to go, I filled up my gas tank and we hit the road, me and my daughter. And it was like, it was a journey, okay? We drove 6 hours. 6 hours straight. Yes, we did make some pit stops. We stopped at the rest areas and all that stuff, but it was like nerve-wracking. And then I was driving, and two, I had to sign my lease and stuff. So I had to get there at a certain, before they closed, before the leasing office closed, I had to get there on time and sign my lease and get the keys, okay? So I told the lady I was going to, oh yeah, I got the apartment. So I got an apartment, so I had to go and I had to email the lady, call the lady to tell her that I'm going to be there at a certain day and time. So I had to be there. So I've looked on my Google Maps and it says I'll be there before the leasing office closed. So I was pretty content. So I was driving, and I was driving like, you know, those country roads and the middle of nowhere. You don't see no bunch of houses. You just see this land and roads and trees and stuff. So I know it was in the country. I see barns and everything. So all of a sudden, my GPS went out. I was panicking. I'm like, okay, all right. It's no signal out here. It's no signal out here on the road. It was no signal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get to my destination? And it was almost time for the leasing office to close. I'm like, oh my gosh. I only had like, I said 2 hours left on my GPS. And I was panicking. I got out of my car. I like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And everything. So something said, keep driving, April. Keep driving straight. Okay. And my daughter, she was asleep in the back, so she didn't know what was going on. So something said keep going straight. And I believe it was my conscience, so I did. I kept driving straight. I was like, oh my gosh, when is this GPS? I kept checking the GPS and see there's going to be a signal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a GPS. Come on. Come on, GPS. And just finally, my GPS came on. I said, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. So I emailed the lady, called the lady, said I'm going to be a little behind. And everything. So I finally got there. I was so happy. I was so happy and excited I got there on time. So I got there and I signed my lease and got the keys. I know my baby was exhausted too. We had snacks in the car and sandwiches and stuff, so we were good. So that night I had to go and go to Walmart and get a blow up bed and all that stuff, and chairs and tables and stuff. And we went out, you know, ate out and stuff. So a few days later, I went to the place, you know, the job, to sign paperwork, my W-2 and everything. And at the time, I was thinking how I'm going to get my baby in daycare because he was too young for school. That was a different. I wasn't even thinking about that. I like just moved to Pennsylvania, that's got up and moved, and I didn't think about daycare and stuff for my child. And I don't trust everybody. So, certain part of Pennsylvania, I was like in the middle of nowhere. I guess it was like a rural area, not like countryside, but it was rural, and it was like in the middle of nowhere. And finding daycare was really, really rough for me. So I went to the YMCA. And that's the same day I had to start working and start my orientation. I was panicking. I'm like, how am I going to get my daughter in daycare and go to work? So, I enrolled her that morning in YMCA. And usually when you enroll your child, you don't start that day. But I told them I had to start. So they said, fine, that's okay. So I enrolled her, I signed paperwork and everything. And I made it to orientation on time, did my orientation. Every day was good. I think my hours were like 6 to 2. So I did good. But my day in Pennsylvania was short-lived. I only stayed for a month because I wasn't prepared. See, when you relocate from one state to another, you need to be prepared for everything. You got to be prepared. You got to have your ducks in a row. So that's why now I'm just planning, because Pennsylvania was only a few miles away from here. Texas is 1,000 miles. So I can't be doing that same mistake I did in Pennsylvania. But always prepare your move. Don't just jump up and, you know, some people just jump up and go. And they were successful, but when you have a child, you can't really do that. You know, I see on YouTube that people do it though. And then it go by faith. But man, it was short-lived for me. Because the hours, 6 to 2, and the thing, daycare was open at 7. So I would have been late, an hour late. So I was trying to find childcare that opened earlier. I couldn't find it. So I'm like, I had to let the job go. I'm like, dang. I was so upset. I was upset. So I was stressing to find another job. They had nothing. They had nothing. I even was thinking of working at McDonald's. But it worked anywhere at this point. I didn't find nothing. So I had to move back. At this time, I was starting running out of money. But thank God it was right around tax return, tax season. So I really thank God for my taxes that came in. My tax return came in on time for me to come back. Because I probably had to ask to borrow some money to come back. Because I had to break my lease again. So I had to break my lease. The lady said, they always do this. You're not the only person this happened to. This company do this to every person here. They move y'all out here and then leave y'all like this, where y'all had to go back home. So she knew it was gonna happen. She knew it was that gonna happen. So lesson learned to not do stuff like that again, and learn my lesson. So I'm glad my baby she was too young to remember what happened, unless I tell her. But it was an experience. I loved it for a little while. They always had snow all the time. It was snowing, and I'm like, I mean, it was snowing and the snow was this high, but the lady, the Lord, sorry, there's so many planes going up, but the landlord, she was a sweetheart. She was the best landlord I ever had. I'm like, dang, I wish they had this landlords all the time like this. But she gave me this snow scraper to scrape my car with. She said, here, I know you just moved here from another state. Here's a snow scraper. She also gave me a free lamp. Well, she had me borrow a lamp. She just gave me a lamp, but I returned it. But I know now that I need to take my time in planning before I could jump and move. Some people, it works for some people, but for me, it didn't work. So I was crying, like I had to go back home. I didn't like it. Man, I was pissed off. So that was my story time. I hope y'all enjoy my video. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and leave the comments below. If you ever moved to another state, you had to move back home, leave in the comments below. And thanks for watching.